Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Paula, also known as The Snail Garden on social media, and I have an Etsy shop, Eva Faith. I will put all the links where you can find me in the description box below. This is my March vlog. We had one slightly snowy day at the beginning of March. So I went out for a walk and I will put in a vlog of my walk. We then had a lot of rain. One particularly nice day where I managed to get in my greenhouse in my garden and start doing things. So there might be some photographs of my garden. But then it has rained and rained and rained ever since. But that has meant I have been indoors doing lots of cross-stitching. So I'll put in a short vlog of what I've been up to and then come back and share my projects with you. Welcome back. I have a couple of whips, a few finished items and some fully finished items. I will start off with the oldest ones, and if you've watched any of my vlogs before, you'll know that I was each month stitching the mini bouquet, which was a free stitch along hosted by Jeanette Douglas, and this was the July design. It is stitched on my 32 count linen using colours from Stash. These are DMC and Anchor colours I've been using for all of these projects. I added the little beads and then have turned it into a lavender sachet filled with my homegrown lavender. I don't know that it's showing up, but there's some very faint stars on this fabric as well. So that was my first fully finished object, and I'm being encouraged by Michelle of Penny's Daughter Shares and Jen of Jen Quilting. They are doing a hashtag to fully finish items this year, and I will put the hashtag below. The second item was the August mini bouquet, again by Jeanette Douglas, and these were tomatoes, and I usually grow tomatoes in our greenhouse every year, and we have frogs in our greenhouse, so I have put a little charm on the bottom, little frog charm, and a couple of buttons from Stash. I had originally thought about doing a different shape for the top, but when it came to it, I decided to just do a rectangle, and again filled with my own homegrown lavender. So these will be going in with my knitwear that I've done to keep those pesky little moths at bay. My next item, I'm not sure whether I shared this last month, so it's my memory. I'm going to share it this month again, or for the first time. Now, I think I did share it stitched, but maybe not fully finished, so please forgive me if I have shown it before. It's one of those days, I think. Now, this is by Samplers Not Forgotten, and it was a kit that it came with everything. And I know I've put this on my Instagram, but I'm not sure whether it came with the fabric, whether I've actually shared it here or not. And again, I have filled this with homegrown lavender. So just put those to one side. I then went on to finish some Christmas stitching, fully finished should I say. And this is Jingle All the Way by Heartstring Samplery. And this pattern was in the Jingle Ball ornament book. And the sample was finished with bells, which I thought was a good idea, so I've done the same. And if it will focus, little gold beads all the way around the edge. and it's got a almost plain red fabric on the back. And I finished this one with a velvet loop so I can hang it up at Christmas time. This was 32 count Monaco. I believe the colourway is Burgandy. And these are DMC colours. I think they are the called for ones. My next item isn't almost fully finished. And this one is Snowy Chalkful by Hands On Design. This pattern was gifted to me by my lovely friend Nicola of Bumble Stitches. And I know I've talked about the stitching before. It's mostly the called for colours, and unusually for me I have stitched it 1/2 on 32 count. And this is my colourway chalkboard. And I've started finishing it on a little chalkboard easel. Now it's not fully finished because I haven't yet put the magnets on the little chalkboard to hold it on. And my plan is to put some decoration at the tops and ribbons, and I have some little wooden snowflakes. But I haven't got around to doing that yet, and I might not do that till nearer Christmas time in case I see anything around at the time it's Christmas that's more suitable. But you can see I just lace the backs. I don't use glue on my needlework. I just have this fear of it coming apart, so I like to lace everything. And it's the same with this. Both the front and the back are laced separately onto a piece of mount board and then padded with, can't think what it's called, wadding. And then the fabric is laced over the top. I find it's quite helpful when I'm lacing to make sure all my edges are overcast with the machine, because then it makes it quite sturdy, so I can pull it tight. And that's just on a piece of mount board with some wadding underneath. So those are all my fully finished cross-stitch items. I did a tiny amount of needle felting. I saw this cute little rabbit. It's meant to be a candle holder. Let me take this out. You can see he's meant to be a candle holder, but I immediately thought pincushion. So I felted a little ball, which just sits in there. Obviously it's not fixed in, so I can change it and do different colours. And I have put some decorative pins in. The front 3 are by Puntini, and the carrots at the back are by Just Another Button Company. So he's going to sit out as a little Easter decoration, display my spring-like pins that I've got. Cross-stitch projects. I was a little late to the party, but I finally got started on the winter Seasons of the Heart as part of the Lancashire Stitches Season Sal. Again, I'll put the hashtag across the bottom. I'm quite tired today. I don't think I slept very well last night because it was really heavy rain and it kept waking me up. So my brain isn't working very well this morning. And I have stitched this on my 40 count acorn using the called for colours, but I have swapped a lot of them around. Now I thought that it was going to be more of a blue house, but it is in fact a green house. But I decided to stick with it. But I do think I did swap out for the DMC Blanc to make it show up more. I do like my snow to be white and slightly less primitive. And although the house is in its called for colours, I have then swapped the other greens and reds around. And you may have noticed that instead of the card winter, I have charted and stitched winter. I was worried about the longevity of the card winter. Next, I have started on the solstice. I started the spring one, and I've only done what I did that particular day. I've just started on the house, again on the acorn 40 count linen. I stitched 1 over 2 with the called for colours, and I have the fabric for all 4 of them, but I have charted a Union Jack for this, and that is very difficult to chart a Union Jack elongated. It doesn't lend itself to that shape, but I've got something that I think might work. And again, I have already charted all of this season's names. I then started stitching one of my market haul patterns, and this one is by Stacy Nash, Spring Chickens Pinkeep. I had seen somebody else stitching this and realised that it is a lot bigger than you think. I believe it measures just over 9 inches by just over 9 inches on 36 count, which was a lot bigger than I thought. So I've gone up to 40 count, and I'm using all the called for colours, and this is my colourway Birch. I believe there's still some of this in my shop, Eva Faith, on Etsy at the moment. Quite a lot of my linen has sold, so I'll have to do some more dyeing soon. It's taken me quite a while to get around here. I'm a slow stitcher, so I don't think I'm going to have this done in time for Easter. It just snuck up on me. That then leads me really to the rest of my market haul. This one by Plum Street I have loved ever since it came out as an exclusive, so I was really pleased to get this out. And please excuse the reflection. I didn't want to take all of these out today. I have the Stacy Nash, A Walk Through the Garden. I think these are a little smaller. The Spring Basket Pinkeep by Stacy Nash. And the Parsnip Needlebook by Stacy Nash, which is finished with some velvet. Now it's hard for us in the UK to get all these colours, so I had a little go at dyeing some fabric again for this, and I tried to dye this a little stripy, like the marks on a parsnip, and this probably isn't showing up very well. This is my birch colourway again, but I think it's gone slightly dark, so I think that'll be okay because the bunny, of the white of the bunny, needs to show up. I couldn't make it too light. And I then dyed some velvet as well in the same colour. So I think that will look very parsnip-like. My family thought I'd gone crazy. I kept holding pieces of fabric up and saying, does this look like a parsnip colour? They're used to me. Those are all of my cross-stitch related projects. Next, I have finally finished my Neat Ripples blanket, which I crocheted. And this was crocheted with wool that I bought from a trip in Iceland a few years ago. I loved that you could just go into a supermarket and get beautiful wool. And this is almost a single-sized blanket. I ran out of some of the colours, so I couldn't continue and make it a little bit longer. I won't open it out because it's huge. And this is a free pattern by Lucy of Attic 24. I'll put all the links in the description box below. So that's my crochet project off the hook. And it's lovely and warm being 100% wool. My next finished item is a knitted item. And I'd finished it last month, but I hadn't blocked it, and it's now blocked. And this is the Oddments Cowl by the lovely Helen of Curious Handmade. And it was using minis and leftover yarns. And some of these were advent calendars and little leftovers, and I did my colours up to halfway and then repeated the colours. And this is all in a 4-ply. It's lovely and soft. So now it's too warm to wear it. And this was part of a leftover ball of yarn from the next item I'm going to show. I now have nothing woolly on the go, so I thought I would, if I can remember which bag it's in, I'm trying to finish up old projects, and this is in a bag I made, a little unicorn bag. And this is the Find Your Fade, which is in another bag apparently inside. It's been so long since I opened these up. I think this is my oldest knitted project maybe. This is a shawl and it's Find Your Fade by Andrea Mowry. And this was the colourway that I started with. It's a big asymmetrical triangle, I believe. Trying to hold the needles so it doesn't come off. And one year I had a year subscription to Life in the Long Grass. And these are some of their monthly colourways. And I bought a couple of extra ones because some of them didn't really fade. I've now got into a slightly warmer colour. I'm hoping I have got notes on where I was because I don't really want to start again. And this is quite a huge shawl. So I think I'm going to knit on that next. I've got the pattern in there, I'm just hoping I've marked it. Here's a picture of the shawl. You can see it's quite big. And I've started on the pale colours and going to some darker ones. It's about time I finished this one. I think this bag I made when there was a stitch along, a Be Happy stitch along it might have been called, hosted by Jewels of So Sweet Violet. Because I also made a little lavender sachet to go in it, with this little beaded bee. A little aragorumi bee in there. Oh, there's another one as well in there. A little yellow one. It's amazing what little things you find when you open up a bag you haven't been into for a while. And this bag holds, as well as the shawl, it holds the colours that I have yet to use, that I have already wound up. And the other long-term whip is in my Blue Rabbit House polar bear bag. And this is the Northeasterly by Skinanigans. And it is a blanket that I plan to have on the needles long term. But not quite this long term, it has to be said. Just unrolling it. Now I'm making mine double-sized. So I've got the width of a double-sized bed. And then I'm working my way along using lots and lots of different minis. And unusually for me, this is a very multicoloured blanket. And I love it, which I've surprised myself with. I'm usually quite controlling when it comes to colours. And I've got some beautiful minis in here. Some I've bought, some were gifts. Some were advent calendars again. And you see I've used a piece of that Life in the Long Grass in here as well. I'll just attempt to hold it up. You can see how wide it is. I've got quite a way to go yet. And I have got some control over the colours in as I'm using different colours in each of these 3 rows, and then I'm allowed to start using some of this row again if I wanted to in the 4th row, so that there's a little bit of repetition in my, I'm trying to see if I can see some. It's very difficult to show, I'm afraid. Yes, so I've got a little bit of repetition. I think I've got this colourway here, and you can see it was in the 1st row as well. So hopefully that will tie it all together. That's my plan. It's been a while since I have knit on this, so hopefully I will know what to do. It's quite a simple pattern, but I have to remember where I finished. So again, hopefully I've got a little note somewhere. But those are all of my projects I have on the go and planned projects. It'll take a very long while for me to finish this blanket, so you'll probably see it again if you pop back. Thank you for watching. I hope you all have a lovely April, and if you believe in the Easter Bunny, I hope he comes and visits you. I will pop back again at the end of April, and I hope you will join me. Until then, bye.